The desert never truly sleeps. Even in the deepest night, sand shifts beneath invisible winds, whispering across the ground like something breathing. The stars hang low and bright above Egypt, watching the same land they have watched for thousands of years. And rising from that endless sea of sand stands a shape older than memory itself, the Great Pyramid of Giza. It does not crumble, it does not bend, it does not fade. It simply remains. When this monument was completed, human civilization was still learning how to write, how to build cities, how to record history. Yet this structure stood taller than any building on Earth for nearly 4,000 years, built with a precision that modern engineers still struggle to explain. From the outside, it looks like a mountain made by human hands. Millions of limestone blocks, each weighing as much as a car, some as heavy as elephants, stacked so perfectly that even today a blade cannot slide between them. But the true mystery is not what we see, it is what lies hidden inside. Because the pyramid is not hollow. It is not simple. It is a carefully designed world of stone corridors, massive chambers, sealed passages, and spaces no human has ever entered. A structure meant not just to stand, but to protect something. The deeper one goes, the stranger it becomes. There is no grand entrance welcoming visitors, no decorated doorway, only a small, narrow opening cut into the northern face, barely large enough for a person to squeeze through. It feels wrong, too simple for such a massive monument. The moment you step inside, the desert heat vanishes. Cold stone surrounds your body. Your breath sounds loud. Every movement echoes. The darkness is thick, pressing close. This is the descending passage, a narrow tunnel sloping sharply downward, pulling explorers deeper beneath the pyramid. It is steep enough that early explorers had to slide down on their backs, gripping ropes just to avoid falling. It feels intentional, as if the builders wanted anyone entering to lose balance, to feel uneasy, to surrender control. The walls are smooth in places, rough in others, carved directly into the bedrock beneath the pyramid. Tool marks remain frozen in time, proof that human hands shaped this passage thousands of years ago. Yet the precision is shocking. How did ancient builders carve so straight, so clean, so perfectly, with tools made of copper and stone? No modern machines, no steel blades, no lasers, just primitive tools and knowledge we may have lost. After traveling downward into the earth, the passage suddenly levels out, and then it opens into a chamber unlike anything expected. Rough, uneven, unfinished. The subterranean chamber. The floor is irregular, cut straight from the bedrock. The ceiling feels low and heavy. The walls are coarse, as if the builders stopped mid-work and never returned. There is no decoration, no coffin, no treasure, nothing. It looks abandoned. This chamber raises the first great question. Why begin carving a massive room beneath the pyramid, only to leave it incomplete? Why change plans halfway through one of the greatest construction projects in human history? Some believe this was the original burial chamber. Others believe it served a ritual purpose. Some think it was a decoy meant to trick robbers. But no theory fully explains why it was never finished. It feels like a plan that was suddenly abandoned, as if something forced the builders to move upward. Returning back up the passage is exhausting. Your muscles burn, your breath grows heavy, and just when the tunnel feels endless, another path appears, an ascending passage. This one slopes upward into the heart of the pyramid. It is tighter, lower, more claustrophobic. Your back scrapes stone, your shoulders brush against limestone polished smooth by centuries of explorers. This passage was sealed by massive granite blocks. Stones weighing several tons each slid into place after construction. Someone clearly wanted to lock something away forever. Breaking through them required explosives in later centuries. The pyramid was not meant to be reopened. Climbing higher, the tunnel suddenly opens into a space so massive it steals the breath away. The Grand Gallery, a towering corridor rising over 8 meters high, stretching long and narrow toward the center of the pyramid. Its walls angle inward, layer upon layer of precisely cut stone blocks, stacked like giant steps toward the ceiling. Light dances across the stone, revealing grooves carved into the sides, their purpose still debated. Even today, engineers struggle to understand how this space supports the weight of millions of tons of stone above it. By all logic, it should have collapsed, but it hasn't, for over 4,500 years. This was not primitive construction. This was genius. Every step forward carries the sense that you are approaching the heart of a secret too old to remember. At the end of the Grand Gallery sits a low, simple opening. No decoration, no warning, just stone. Passing through it brings you into the most famous chamber of the pyramid, the King's Chamber. The room is built entirely of granite, a stone far harder than limestone, hauled from quarries hundreds of kilometers away. The ceiling is flat and massive, the walls are smooth and cold, and in the center of the chamber rests a single object, a large stone box, the so-called sarcophagus. It is plain, unadorned, no carvings, no lid, empty. This alone should feel strange, but it becomes stranger when you realize something impossible. The sarcophagus is too large to have been carried through the narrow passages, which means it had to be placed here before the pyramid was completed. The chamber was built around it. Someone knew exactly where this room would be before the first stone of the pyramid was laid. Everything was planned, everything was intentional. Yet no mummy was ever found here, no treasure, no royal remains, nothing. The most important room in the greatest monument on Earth was empty. And this is where the real mystery begins. The emptiness of the King's Chamber is not peaceful. It is unsettling. An empty room does not feel like a tomb. It feels like something was never meant to be here, or was taken long before anyone arrived. The granite walls absorb sound strangely. A whisper seems to stretch, lingering longer than it should. Even footsteps echo in a deep, hollow way, as if the pyramid itself is listening. But the chamber hides something most visitors never see. High above the ceiling are 5 hidden spaces, stacked one on top of another. They are called relieving chambers, narrow rooms of stone meant to redirect the enormous weight of the pyramid away from the King's Chamber below. But their existence raises an uncomfortable question. Why protect this one room so heavily? Ancient builders did not waste effort. Every stone required manpower, planning, and precision. To create 5 separate structural buffers suggests that whatever was meant to happen in this chamber, or whatever was meant to be kept there, was incredibly important. Some early explorers who forced their way into these spaces found strange markings on the walls, red paint symbols left by ancient workers. Not decorative, not religious, more like construction notes. Proof that these chambers were sealed and never meant to be visited again. Yet even with all this protection, the chamber was empty, which leads to a disturbing thought. Perhaps the chamber's true purpose was never to hold a body. Perhaps it was built for something else entirely. Leaving the King's Chamber behind, another mystery waits lower within the pyramid. The Queen's Chamber. Despite its name, no queen was ever discovered there. The room sits almost perfectly at the center of the pyramid, an odd position if it were meant simply as a secondary tomb. Its ceiling forms a pointed shape, unlike the flat granite roof of the King's Chamber. The stone here feels different, softer, warmer, and again, no coffin, no remains, nothing. But what draws attention are 2 narrow openings in the walls, tiny shafts, barely wide enough for a small animal. For centuries, scholars believed these were ventilation tunnels, but they do not reach the outside. They stop, sealed, hidden, which makes no sense for air. Why build shafts that lead nowhere? The answer remained hidden until modern technology entered the pyramid. Small robotic explorers were sent crawling into the dark passages. Their cameras revealed something no human had ever seen before. Stone doors, perfectly cut, sealed tight, with small copper handles attached. Not decorations, handles, as if meant to be opened. Behind one of these doors, another small chamber, and behind that, another sealed stone barrier, like a series of locked rooms inside the pyramid, layer after layer of protection. What lies beyond them has never been fully revealed, and the Egyptian authorities have tightly controlled further exploration. Why so much secrecy? Why lock away tiny tunnels so carefully? What could be so important that it needed to be hidden behind multiple stone doors for thousands of years? Even stranger, similar shafts exist in the king's chamber, but these ones actually reach outward. Not randomly, not straight, they are angled with incredible precision. And when scientists measured their alignment, the results were shocking. They point directly towards specific stars. The shaft on the southern side aligns with Orion's belt. The northern shaft aligns with ancient polar stars. In ancient Egyptian belief, Orion was the home of Osiris, god of the afterlife, the place where souls traveled after death. The pyramid wasn't just built on Earth, it was built in connection with the sky, with the stars, with the heavens. This was no coincidence. The pyramid was designed like a cosmic map, a structure that connected the pharaoh, or something else, to the universe itself. As researchers studied the pyramid further, more strange patterns appeared. The measurements of the Great Pyramid contain mathematical values that should not have been known at the time. Pi, the golden ratio. Earth's circumference, the relationship between the pyramid's height and its base, mirrors the proportions of the planet. How could ancient builders calculate these values with such precision? No written records explain it. No tools found could measure it. Yet the math is there, hidden in stone. Perfect. Some believe the pyramid encodes knowledge, a message from the ancient world. Others believe it reflects a lost civilization far more advanced than history admits. Because what we're taught about ancient technology doesn't match what the pyramid proves. Then came a discovery that changed everything. In 2017, scientists used a new technique called muon scanning. Cosmic particles constantly fall from space, passing through solid objects. By tracking how they move through the pyramid, researchers could see empty spaces inside the stone, like a giant X-ray. What they found stunned the world. Deep inside the pyramid, above the Grand Gallery, was a massive void, a hidden space larger than a school bus, possibly as large as an airplane. Completely sealed, unknown, never recorded, never entered, a chamber that had existed silently for over 4,500 years. No ancient texts mention it, no early explorers knew it was there. It was not an accident, it was deliberately built. But why? And what is inside it? Is it another burial chamber, a treasure room, a structural space, or something else entirely? The truth remains sealed behind stone. This discovery confirmed something incredible. The Great Pyramid is far more complex than we imagined. It is not just a few chambers and tunnels. It is a hidden system of spaces still waiting to be uncovered, which leads to a chilling possibility. If one massive unknown chamber exists, how many more are still hidden? And what have we not yet found? And as scientists dig deeper, the pyramid continues to behave in ways no simple tomb should. Sound inside certain chambers vibrates unusually. Low frequencies travel through stone. Echoes amplify. Some researchers believe the pyramid was designed to resonate like a musical instrument, as if it was built to manipulate energy. Others believe it focused vibrations into specific chambers. For rituals, for spiritual experiences, for purposes lost to time. The pyramid is not silent, it hums. Subtly, almost alive. The more we learn, the more one thing becomes clear. The Great Pyramid was not built simply to bury a king. Its design is too precise, its complexity too advanced, its secrets too carefully hidden. It was a machine, a message, a structure with purpose beyond death. And we are only beginning to understand it. The Great Pyramid has survived earthquakes. It has watched kingdoms rise and fall. It stood when Rome was founded. It stood when empires burned. And through all of it, it kept its silence. A silence heavy with secrets. Every generation that studies it uncovers something new and realizes how little we truly know. Ancient inscriptions speak of knowledge handed down from the gods, not imaginary gods with wings and halos, but beings of wisdom who arrived during the first time and taught humanity how to build, how to measure the heavens, how to shape stone as if it were clay. Whether these stories are symbolic or literal, one truth remains. After the pyramids were built, humanity never created anything like them again. Not in scale, not in precision, not in mystery. Civilizations that came later admired the pyramids, studied them, and tried, and failed, to replicate their perfection. It was as if the knowledge disappeared overnight. Deep beneath the pyramid, the unfinished subterranean chamber continues to confuse researchers. Why carve such a massive space only to abandon it? Some believe it was meant to house something dangerous. Others think it was part of an earlier design that suddenly changed. A plan replaced by something more complex above. Some even believe it was a chamber meant for sound, water, or energy, part of a system never fully completed. The pyramid may have evolved during construction, or it may have been modified by later builders who did not fully understand the original design. What makes the mystery even deeper is that the pyramid complex contains underground tunnels far beyond the visible chambers. Ancient texts reference hidden passages beneath the Giza Plateau. Some modern ground scans suggest large cavities beneath the surface, yet many of these areas remain unexplored, buried, sealed, ignored. If vast spaces exist below the pyramid, what were they used for? Storage, rituals, technology, or something humanity no longer recognizes? Then there is the strange behavior of the structure itself. Electromagnetic readings spike inside certain chambers. Airflow behaves unnaturally. Temperature shifts without explanation. Some researchers claim their equipment malfunctioned inside the pyramid. Compasses spin, signals distort. Is it coincidence? Or is the pyramid interacting with natural forces in ways we still do not understand? Some ancient writings describe the pyramid as a place of transformation, not burial. Transformation, a structure where the soul was reborn, where consciousness traveled beyond the physical world, where humans connected with the stars. The shafts pointing toward Orion may not have been symbolic. They may have been functional, pathways for something unseen, energy, spirit, or knowledge. Across cultures worldwide, pyramidal structures appear. In Mexico, South America, China, Sudan, Indonesia, all built with similar astronomical alignments, all connected to stars, all associated with gods descending from the heavens. This is not random. Civilizations separated by oceans and thousands of years shared the same architectural concept. Why? Either they independently discovered the same design, or they inherited knowledge from a shared ancient source. A lost global civilization, one erased by catastrophe. If such a civilization existed, the Great Pyramid may be one of its final surviving achievements. A monument built to preserve knowledge, or to survive destruction, or to warn future generations. Perhaps the hidden chambers contain records, maps, technologies, truths about humanity's forgotten past. And that brings us back to the sealed doors, the hidden void, the untouched chambers. Why has no one fully opened them? Why do discoveries move slowly, quietly, carefully? Some scientists argue that exploration risks damaging the structure. Others believe politics and control play a role. History shapes power. If humanity discovered proof of an advanced lost civilization or knowledge far beyond ancient Egypt, everything we know about our origins would change. Schoolbooks would change. Beliefs would change. The story of civilization would change, and not everyone is comfortable with that. So the pyramid remains partially unexplored, partially understood, partially silent, guarding its deepest secrets. for now, but technology is advancing. New scanning methods can see deeper. Smaller robots can crawl through hidden shafts. Future discoveries are inevitable, and when the sealed chambers are finally opened, the truth will emerge. Whether it confirms ancient Egyptians built everything with forgotten brilliance, or reveals something far older, or uncovers knowledge meant to last through time. Until then, the Great Pyramid stands as humanity's greatest mystery, not a tomb, not just a monument, but a puzzle, a message in stone, a reminder that our ancestors may have known far more than we give them credit for, and that history, real history, is far deeper than written records.